Good evening, peace and blessings, family. It is yet another Friday evening, and it's time for Let's Talk Love, Sex, and Nutrition. I'm here tonight with my wonderful and beautiful goddess, Z Lana. This is Vonnie, your sexual wellness coach. And Z, I already said your name, but we have our thing.
It's all good. It's all good. I am Z, your love and sex enthusiast, and we do welcome you once again to another amazing evening with love.
Yes, Z. How was your week, sis?
Oh, you know, my week has been absolutely fabulous. I've been loving this weather. Spring is in the air. You know, we had a beautiful full moon this week. We had a lunar eclipse.
Oh, yes.
Energy brought up this week. And I'm telling you, love is in the air.
Yes, it is.
People that have come forth, beautiful kings and queens that have come forth to talk about their love thing that's been going on. So, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful.
And that's what we're about. What can we do as individuals and collectively to raise this love consciousness? So they're right. Spring, the energy is in the air, and we're just getting acclimated with the flow of things. I'm looking outside and I see that the trees are starting to bear flowers, and I just, I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I'm just seasoned because I love when the days are longer and warmer and just full of life, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the rebirth of life. So I'm really excited what's taking place.
Yes, I love it, Vonnie, when around 3:30 in the morning, the birds start chirping, like, wake up, let's get this party started. Giving thanks to the Creator first thing in the morning, then later, a couple hours later, the day is starting to dawn, and it just fills me up with such a feeling of joy that, wow, we get to experience another day, and the sun comes up, and it's just a beauty all around us. I'm just so grateful, so grateful. And, of course, as we are going to be talking tonight about attracting our divine love mate. So, again, we got a lot of love that's moving around. People are really, talking about and wanting to, having a desire for connecting with a beautiful soul. So, Vonnie, if you want to go ahead and get us started on our disclaimer, and we can go right into our conversation tonight.
All right, yes. So, again, I am Vonnie, the sexual wellness coach, and Z is our love and sex enthusiast and also upcoming author, might I add. And with that, yes, just wanted to remind our audience to look forward to what you have to contribute to the world with your gifts and talents, with your writing. And with that being said, as our profession and through our experience, we're not medical doctors, so we come to you tonight with our experiences, with our research, and with love. But we do understand that there are some listeners that may be undergoing, because we make a lot of suggestions or we talk about different things, and we talk about herbs and nutrition and, some freaky stuff too. And if it's out of your scope of health and wellness, we always suggest that you consult with your primary care physician if you're undergoing any type of medication that might be counterproductive to any of the suggestions that we may have or recommend, or anything that our guests may recommend on our show. And also, this is an adult show, so we like to let our adult audience know that just in case you might have any young ones in the listening area, because our content is mature, we just like to let our adult audience know that prior to getting started with the show. So other than that, Z, did I miss anything, honey?
All is well. All is well. We just, again, want to thank the family for taking time out on a Friday night because, we just finished saying how the days are getting longer. So, you could be out, taking a little stroll in the park with your beloved or, maybe just sitting and contemplating, doing some meditation right now. And so you could be anywhere doing anything, but you decided to join us tonight. So thank you so much for being here. I do want to say, Vonnie, that we are going to have our guests on just in a little short while. So we ask the family to be patient. I know a lot of you are waiting to hear from the king and the queen, King Teasdell and his queen, Arlene. They are going to be sharing their story with us in just a little bit. So, but we're going to get started talking about attracting a divine love mate. And I know, Vonnie, you've got some statistics that you want to share with the family. The buzz around love.
Yeah, and you know what, Z, when we talked about the topic and the title, attracting our divine, putting that word divine in front of divine love me, and where that takes us. So divine, that crosses the physical realm, and we get into the spiritual aspect of finding that person. So, obviously when we put that word into divine mate, it's more easier, I say, to find someone that you can, connect with on the physical realm and, and that jump off, and we're getting out of cussing season, so the weather is getting warm, so just finding someone to satisfy our needs temporarily. But what does it take for us to attract that soul mate, that divine mate, that partner that we can connect with beyond the physical, and we can connect on the spiritual and intellectual realm? So for preparing for this show, I have put up some statistics, and I know that we hear a lot within the U.S. about the divorce rate, and also that not many people are getting married as they did, years ago. And I found it interesting that when pulling up the statistics for like online dating, that within the U.S. alone, over 54 million single people here in the U.S. And within that 54, and it's more exact, but it's over 54 million. And within that, 39 million of them have actually tried online dating. So we know the popular sites like eHarmony and Match. And I can admit that, I had a profile, and, after hearing, different people connecting, I'm like, what is this? Like, my curiosity got me. Like, what is it about this online thing? My thing is, like, I want to meet my mate, my soulmate, the organic way, whether it be I'm at a grocery store and they see that, my hair's all messed up, I got sweatpants on, but it's something about me that just drew them to me. Like, that was my fantasy. And so I'm like, okay, I kept hearing about this, and and I was single. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this online dating. And, girl, don't you know, like, filling out the questionnaire alone is like, it takes like an hour to do. So it's so much that goes into even setting up a profile. And so from that profile, they ask questions, it's no longer is it just, what your sign is and, what do you like to do in your spare time, but really diving into, your personality traits and, what is it, do you, what's your favorite color? And then from that, they pull up, okay, well, if you like red, then you're more attracted to people that, so it's a lot of science that goes behind these compatibility tests. And from that, they create these algorithms and all these things that align people together. And here you have the success of online dating, because if it wasn't working, then we wouldn't have it. But here we are today that we still, that we have it. And this is a multi-billion-dollar industry built on the fact that people are really yearning and searching for someone that they can connect with.
Well, you know what, Vonnie? Thank you for sharing that, because it is so popular, and you see it all the time. The commercials on television, and I've even I tried it. I didn't even go through the one that has all of the profile stuff. I just went on to a website and put myself in there. But it just goes to show you that men and women are looking to connect. They're looking to find someone and someone special. Of course, there's some people out there that just say, hey, I'm just looking for a hookup or just looking for a friend. But there are others who say, I'm looking for a mate. I'm looking for a long-term commitment. So, and that now that we have this new technology where you can get to meet people online, it can turn out to be a good thing. And sometimes it's not so good. I have heard horror stories from
yes.
sisters who have tried it, and they like, man, I got through 10 brothers, and it just wasn't even working. And I'm sure guys probably have the same experience. But I have a dear friend who actually found her love mate online. She got online, she met the person, and they're still together, and that's been about 7 or 8 years. So you just never know how the universe is going to bring that beloved to you. You just never know.
You don't. And, we spoke about again, with that divine, so adding that spiritual aspect into the relationship. And, and let's talk about what is that, the role of spirituality in the relationship. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean, going to church together or those types of things, which are great, and that helps with building the bond. But, again, connecting with someone with your virtues, because virtues, they make the relationship possible. And when I say virtues, I mean connecting on that where you're building a foundation based on patience and kindness and humility, gentleness and forgiveness and love, and building on that, because when we find that when we build things that are based on whims and cravings and, selfish desires, those things don't necessarily, or those things, those don't make the long-lasting relationships that we're talking about. And with physical intimacy, it's limited. It doesn't, it's limited to that. So when we bring in the spiritual and the emotional and intellectual part of intimacy into relationships, you're able to fully explore the boundaries of that union.
Absolutely. And, when I think about, attracting my mate, my divine mate, I want to bring in, I want to totally rely on my spiritual attraction, my divine energy to draw in my divine mate. And so, some forms of that for me are prayer, meditation, visualizing, where I feel like I'm really making a heart-to-heart connection, soul-to-soul, and spirit-to-spirit connection. It's not just me, not just about, well, I'd like to find somebody that I can have a good conversation with. That's a, good conversation with. That may be good, but to me, that's not my spiritual connection with that person.
Right.
I truly, I'm an old-fashioned girl, Vonnie. I believe that the universe has already chosen, we've already chosen who we're going to have this wonderful, amazing experience with, and we did that before we came and evolved into this lifetime. We may have to kiss a few frogs to get to out there.
I was about to say.
I'm still holding out for the old-fashioned way that divine love is going to bring us together at the right and perfect time. And a lot of times, Vonnie, it means that we have some work to do prior to attracting our beloved. Because if I've been on a journey throughout my life where I've gone through some ups and downs in relationships, and I've had some wounds, and I know the brother may have had some wounds, so we may have some healing work to do, some forgiveness work, letting go of the past, releasing others, holding on to baggage. Holding on to baggage can be a real detriment in a relationship, because you could be repelling that which is called forth. So, that whole healing aspect, and I think we're going to be hearing about that as King and Arlene come on, because, we're asking them to talk about what was your process. What did you have to do to clean it up and clean it out? So you can't pour new wine into old wineskin. So if you have all that junk going on in there, you got to clean it up and clear it out before that beautiful beloved can come your way. So we're going to be talking about doing the work to heal what needs to be healed and get us freed up for our beloved.
Yes. Get us freed up. I like that. Because, we talk about, we're raising the love vibration. We're raising the consciousness. And with that, that takes the work. That it takes the unveiling the truth and unveiling the truth of who we are. Because I remember, there was a time, and I'm working in progress, but where I didn't know what I want. I thought I knew what I want, and that was, going by what I saw on television, or or what I saw just on externally, but not really going internally as to wonder, what is it that you want? Yeah, if they can buy you nice things, and that's great, and take you nice places, but ultimately, what you want is that mate and that person that's going to bring out the best of you, to make you a better version of who you are, and in return, you do the same. And I know, Z, that you had shared with me that you had came up, you had found an article. Did you want to share that with?
Oh, yes. Well, and it's right in alignment with what you just talked about. You just talked about raising your vibration. And so I found this article online by Divine Caroline, talk about divine soulmates, right? Divine Caroline. One of the things that she says in attracting a soulmate is to raise your vibration. And she says the key to finding true love is to keep that vibration high. We operate on a frequency. When our vibration is raised, we are more tuned to the spiritual realm. And that was just what we were talking about, bringing in the spiritual aspect as we draw on our mate. We can see more clearly and feel angels and celestial beings who will whisper instructions in your ear. Oh, I love that. Or your heart to unite you with a soulmate. And she says, she advises us to listen to the instructions that will come from the angelic beings and to live a more spiritual life. She gives a few things that you can do to raise your vibration. So, family, if you've got a pen and pencil nearby, you may want to take some notes on this. One of the things that she talks about, Vonnie, spending time in nature. Oh, my God, that's so beautiful. Getting out, going for walks, looking up at the trees, up at the sky, enjoying the sun, enjoying the sunlight, looking at the animals, the birds are kissing each other and they're floating all around and, hanging out, and the squirrels are chasing each other, spending time in nature, meditating and praying daily meditation and prayer. And she even goes into excuse me.
Bless you, sis.
She even goes to avoiding red meat and including more vegetarian meals in your diet. And Vonnie, I know this is kind of right up your alley because you're a foodie, and she talks about increasing your alkaline foods, including more vegetables, whole grains, fruits, and green drinks. And if anybody ever had any of Vondria's lavender lemonade, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to say. This sister throws down with some lavender lemonade. I want some more of that, by the way.
I got you. You know I got you.
Okay,
that is
good.
It's interesting that she said the red meat. Of course, I was going to, touch on that because that old saying, we are what we eat, and we assimilate. When we break these foods down, we are those things. So when you are eating foods that are full of life and that are vibrant, you are becoming that. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Well, that's true. When we have plant foods in our body, we're giving our body nutrition. And we can stay on that high vibration. We want to make sure that our cells are getting fed the right things so we can keep our vibration raised up. And then, of course, she says if you do eat meat, we're not telling people not to eat meat. Remember, we're not medical doctors, so we're not telling you not to eat meat. But she says to bless it and try organic so that you don't have a lot of the chemicals and things that are in some of the foods. She also says, Bonnie, to play music. Oh, my God. Play music. She says, angels love the sound of sweet music. Now, just think about it. When we came on tonight, we played Starlight and You, and I dedicate that to our beautiful lady love, Janine Ingram. That's one of her favorite songs. But when you hear some soft, mellow music, oh, my goodness, and it just makes your heart feel so beautiful. When you hear the sounds, when the brother said, my heart feels so warm when you are around. Oh, my goodness, that's what I'm talking about. I know and feel our love forever and evermore. So, get into that vibration, that beautiful music. If you're not into that kind of music, whatever turns you on, whatever gets you up and make you feel good, play some good music because the angels love it. She says to adorn your home and office with plants and flowers. And, one of the things that we've been talking about, Bonnie, a lot with sisters who are single is, a lot of times, oh, I wish I had a guy that was bringing me flowers. Well, sisters, send yourself some flowers. Just go on and send yourself some flowers, or when you're at the market, get yourself a bouquet of flowers and put them up and adore you. As we are adoring ourselves, loving up on ourselves and being kind and gentle to ourselves, then our vibration is raised so that we can bring forth love, letting them know in the spiritual we love flowers and, of course, plants as well. She also talks about being in service to others because, of course, when we give of ourselves and service and love, and good comes back to us. This is one of my favorites, and we're doing work in the magic right now. And she says, live in gratitude. That to me is one of the most important things we can do, is to live in gratitude, not just say thank you when someone opens a door or gives you a gift. Live in gratitude every day. Wake up being grateful. Whether you have a mate, whether you don't have a mate, just being grateful that you got life today and health today and abundance today.
And another opportunity to love and to serve.
Amen. Another opportunity to be the love that we are. Yes, yes. Ashe. And dance, Bonnie, this is one of your favorites, dance and play. Girl, I remember when you used to have your adult sex education class, and you would have us dancing and movement and getting that vibration moving around in our bodies. Oh, man, that's what's up. And then, of course,
getting into the flow.
Getting into the flow. And you said do this first thing in the morning. Get your body moving. Let your body know we are live today, and get that flow going. And she talks about eliminating negative speech. Eliminating negative speech. So that means family. If we are still saying there are no good men out there, then guess what? That's what we're going to keep on getting. If we're still saying, well, all sisters want to do is use you, then, yes, that's what you're going to keep on getting. So we don't want to speak that. We want to eliminate negative speech. We want to always affirm the positive. Affirm. Say what it is that you want. If you want a queen, if you want to be able to have a king, then see women as that. And know that we really are that. We all are that. So that's just a few things the sister had to share out of this article. If anybody wants to learn more about that, you can go to www.divinecaroline.com. And it's called Love, Sex, Manifest Your Soulmate, 5 Powerful Steps. All right. Well, we are already at the top of the hour. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that? Okay.
Yeah, actually, I did. I wanted to add that the importance of believing in love, and it talks about, piggybacking for what you're saying is that, if you're looking for your king and if you're looking for your queen, believe that they're there. Believe that they're out there. Believe in love, because, a lot of times when we are in relationships and we get out of them, because ideally when we go in a relationship, we think that we're going to be with that partner, for the duration of our life. But that doesn't always happen. So we come out of that maybe, feeling hurt and wounded and salty about love and how love has failed us. But the importance is, to still believe that love for you exists. So I just wanted to add that to your list there, is the importance of belief. And as Z just said, we're at the top of the hour already.
The time just slows, and it just slows and grows. I mean, it's so much that we could continue to share. But there is one more thing which I think is so key, and that is forgiveness. You were just talking about that,
yes.
And having gone through other relationships and holding on to any unforgiveness, and, you're just dooming yourself to not getting what you want. Not forgiving that ex-husband or the ex-wife or the ex-boyfriend or the ex-girlfriend.
Right.
If you haven't done that, got to do your forgiveness work. God tells us to forgive. Forgive first thing in the morning, forgive at night, forgive all throughout the day. Let it go, because when we hold on to that negativity, we're blocking our good. And one of the things that she says is that your soulmate could be on the other end of the earth. And you don't have to worry about how you will meet him or her. Just do your positive prayer work, and your spirit will guide you along the way. So do your work, do your forgiveness, stay in belief that love is yours, and it shall be. Bonnie, I think we're going to go ahead and move to our commercial.
All right.
We're going to bring on the king and the queen who are going to share their journey to love.
All right.
Welcome to the Family Healing Circle, where we heal the mind, body, and soul. Join us every Monday for Totally Whole with Dr. Rosemary Cook and Pastor Bridget as they discuss issues related to spirituality and mental health with emphasis on wholeness of mind, body, and spirit. Get your money right Tuesdays on Money Matters with Chastity A. Wells. This show is the tool you need to develop a healthy relationship with your money and financial legacy. Every Thursday is a treat as we mix it up. On the first Thursday of the month, it's Total Empowerment with Angela Hardy, where beauty and strength is enhanced inside and out. The second Thursday of the month is Relationship Talk on One Love, One Connection, One Up with Reverends Arlene Kahet and Harvey L. Bailey as they give you practical advice for creating a spiritual union to have the relationship you want. Call in with your relationship question. Calling all brothers on the third Thursday of the month, it's the Sacred Masculine Show with Reverend Jamel Gilliam. It's a show for spiritual brothers and the women who love them. When there is a fourth Thursday in the month, we have the Healing Paradigm with Reverend Arlene Kahet, healing the mind, body, and spirit through changing viewpoints. Every Friday, let's talk love, sex, and nutrition with sexual wellness coach Bondria Walters and sex enthusiast Lakia Lana. The hottest sexual health and wellness and nutrition show around. This is for the grown and sexy. Listen at your own risk. If you don't know, now you know. The Family Healing Circle on Blog Talk Radio, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's the best in entertainment, education, and talk radio.
Hello, family, and welcome back to Let's Talk Love, Sex, and Nutrition. This is Vonnie, your sexual wellness coach, along with...
I am Z, your love and sex enthusiast, and we welcome you back to the second half of Let's Talk Love, Sex, and Nutrition. Oh, beautiful, Vonnie. That was a beautiful song. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
That's my guy. He's from Chi-Town, David Hollister. He was in the group Backstreet back in the day. So when he went solo, he had the whole album is a beautiful album, but this song right here was like one of those songs. It was like, and I love his voice because it was so rich.
It is. I love it. He said, "I got to go home to my baby." Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful and right in divine timing for the next part of our conversation tonight was the two lovebirds that have found each other and are moving forward into their divine love relationship. So we're going to introduce them. Vonnie, did you want to go ahead and introduce our guest tonight?
I'm gonna let you go ahead and do that, Z.
All right. Well, family, we're just so excited and blessed to be able to have with us two beautiful souls. They're beautiful souls individually and together. Wow, I don't even know what to say. They're amazing. I've met. Arlene is actually one of the producers of the Family Healing Circle, Arlene Kahet, along with Harvey Bailey. And Arlene has just been an amazing gift in my life. She's just a beautiful sister who has an amazing and awesome spirit of love. And she's a relationship coach. She does sacred relationship work. And so we're going to be talking with her tonight about her journey to love. Also, her beloved King, King Teasdell, who is an author, also a beautiful soul. He's going to come on and share his journey to love and how the two of them found each other. And I'm going to allow them to share their beginning, their middle, and the rest of their life together. So, King and Arlene, would you come on? Are you here tonight? And welcome to Let's Talk Love, Sex, and Nutrition.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Peace and blessings,
yes. Family. Peace, and
blessings.
Wow. So, King and Arlene, I'm not going to let the family know everything. I want you to tell them. But what we want to know is, what did you do? What was your journey to love? What you had to go through? Did you have to go through getting rid of some in you? And, how did you find each other? So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk about it.
Okay, honey, do you want me to start, or you want to? Oh, he's pointing at me, ladies and gentlemen. So I will say that what happened was I went ahead and at around 2013, I created a vision board. There had been many people in my life who had talked about visioning and things of that nature. And so I created a video vision board of what it was that I wanted to create. There were aspects that I felt that were missing in my marriage. And I decided, well, if I have the opportunity to vision it, I wanted a spiritual partnership, a spiritual sacred union. I also wanted somebody who was more affectionate. I really did get very clear on what my non-negotiables were, what my needs were, and what my wants were. Also a part of that was also having a mate that had a spiritual understanding of me. I already knew that the person that I would be involved with, he would have to be very open-minded. And even though if he was, if he was a Christian, he would have to have a great deal of flexibility in that area, because there were aspects of myself that I never really felt comfortable with sharing with somebody else. The other things that I did were prayer, meditation, but I think the primary thing that I did was develop a relationship with myself. Getting to a point where I was releasing my guilt about personal things that had taken place in my life, releasing this idea that my value was based upon what it was that I could bring monetarily into a relationship, because at the time was having some issues with my prosperity. One of the other things that I did was also pay attention to the relationships that were around me. What were there patterns that were showing up, even in my friendships? Were there patterns showing up? If there was anything about the people who were around me that irritated me, I started looking at myself and like, okay, so what was that about? Why was it irritating me? Why did I, why was I viewing it that way? And then I think the one thing that really turned things around for me, and a lot of that came after I developed the business partnership with Reverend Harvey L. Bailey, is that I began to understand that I started, like, even though it was a friendship, it was a business friendship, that I started blessing my relationship with him. And what I saw was that it changed the course of just even my basic friendships. And there was a deep, sort of a deepness. One of the things that I would pray for is that all of my relationships, regardless of whether or not, there was any type of intimate aspects to it or not, that I wanted all of those relationships to operate at the very highest vibration possible, so that that I guess you could say, the source of creation's highest intent and value of the relation would be brought to the forefront. And another thing that I also did was, whenever there would be things that would be going on in my life, I was always sort of very honest and transparent about myself, even those things that I was uncomfortable with actually sitting with and actually acknowledging. And also the other thing that I did was started to, it came with the relationship work, but I also found that making a study of what relationships work, or why it is that some relationships work and why other ones didn't. When I started learning about the love languages, I had my aha moments. When I learned about the different ways that men and women communicate, I had several aha moments there. In addition to that, understanding the reason why we tend to attract the people that we do, and one of the reasons that actually happens is because we're looking to heal those parts of ourselves that were unresolved from our childhood, and that can apply to all of your relationships, not just the loved ones. And just sort of being in that space of I will say that for the most part, I really, really, to my heart and my core, am a romantic. And when I think about it, the work that I do with the relationship coaching, it was something that was very important to me from the very beginning. So you have to make it a priority if that is something that you are wanting. If you are wanting a sacred union, if you're wanting a relationship where you feel that you can, for that relationship to be your soft place to fall, you've got to make a bit of a study of it to see what works, and to pay attention to the relationships that you do have, and also pray for the highest and best intent that Source would have for all of those relationships. And I guess, do you want me to get into how it is that I came to meet King, or do you want to save that for later, or do you want to chime in, hon?
Well, actually, I'd like to ask you to share a little bit about this question I'm going to ask you, and then we can have King come in, and then y'all can talk about how y'all find each other.
All right.
One of the things, Arlene, that I know that you have done some work around clearing out old partners, sexual partners and things. And I wonder if you, would share a little bit about that. And did you feel that was instrumental in your process to attracting your love?
Yes, I do. There were. I know that when I've been on the love journey before, that I gave a spiritual bath. That was just one of the things that I did for myself. I did get a spiritual bath to cleanse myself of past and previous relationships. I also did some audios that are put out by Tybro.com by Dr. Mitchell Gibson. One is called Spirit Attachment Removal, and the other one is called Soul Cleansing. I also had done the personal work that I did for myself was the relationship coaching, which provided me the opportunity to get really, really clear about what my non-negotiables were, or what my needs were, to understanding what it is that I really wanted to draw to myself. And I would say there were, a great deal of the work really came from releasing the emotional baggage of guilt. And I would say that those were the major components that seemed to fast track my meeting King and just operating and deciding to operate at my, my highest, most loving vibration, just being authentic in who I am. But as far as the releasing goes, the spiritual baths, the audios were very instrumental in releasing those old energies. And here's the thing. I didn't just do it for like a couple of months. We're talking about years of doing these particular things. With the spiritual bath, maybe I would do that maybe like twice a year. And the spirit attachment removal and the soul cleansing, those particular audios, those for the most part played 24/7 whenever I went to sleep. And I had made the decision that if I was to actually have gotten involved with anyone, that I would not. I did not want to just have somebody that I wanted to just kick it with, because my feeling is that if that person's vibration was there, if there was somebody else there, even if it was in a casual way, that it would have actually blocked the blessing of meeting my spiritual partner, my sacred partner that the source chose for me.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that you call him your spiritual partner. We were just talking about having that spiritual relationship, and obviously you have found yours. So that's so beautiful. Thank you. And we'll hear a little bit more from you later on after Brother King shares his process. So thank you, Queen. We appreciate you for sharing that with us. And Brother King, if you are ready to come on and share your half of the story, we'd love to hear what your process was and how you were able to connect with your queen.
I find it quite interesting that, for me, it's hard to describe whether my experience as a spiritual and finding my sacred soulmate was or would be considered a spiritual journey or a voyage, because everything of my life kind of comes together to bring me to this point of now. I love the song that was played. I think it was David Hollister, because that pretty much was the journey that I was on for some time, because we get so acclimated to the environment in which we're in. And to be a man in this type of society, there are certain things that's expected of you, and you want to kind of play that role. But what I discovered for myself is that I can't just play a role. I have to be in it. So whenever I got involved, I make love. It was never really just to kick it. It was to get busy and to enjoy and to be enjoyed and to have an experience. So I discovered that there was a spiritual thing going on when I saw the response to what was happening. So it wasn't that it was me who had it going on, but there was a connection that was deeper than anything physical that I could ever possibly imagine. And I had to reckon with something that I had to be very careful with. I came to a point in my life to where I almost felt as if I no longer deserved love because of the way in which I was handling the gift. I remember back when I was in college, there was a sister who was from Kenya. We had such a connection. It was unbelievable. It was like I could write a letter today. And back then, there was snail mail. So you didn't know the other person's thoughts until you received their letter. Well, it just so happened as she would write a letter, and our letters would pass each other in through the mail, we were like reading each other's words, and there was such a commonality there. It was like phenomenal. But I ended up wanting to be a player because I came back to Baltimore City, and it was like, if she wants to stay up there, if she doesn't want to come down here, then I can be sworn to fun and loyal to none. And it didn't work out too well, and it caused me to start having judgment on myself. And I felt as if I had did love wrong. The day in which I took her to the bus station, because when she came, I had got caught up in some vibration with some other sister, and I wasn't expecting that because I didn't know love was going to do me like that. And when that happened, I dropped the girl off at the bus station because it feel right for her to stay here. That same night, before leaving the bus station, I blew out 2 tires on my car. I couldn't even make it home. I had to park the car and find another way to get home and find another tire. And I was like, man, I done messed up big time. But I ended up marrying that person that I had kind of, I guess, got tripped up and fell in love with. But I looked at love from the wrong perspective. I looked as though I could find love from the individual directly. And that's where I was making my mistake, because you have to go to the source. Driving along one day, and I looked and I saw a sign, and it said, God is love. And I know I was having all these problems with this sister, and I couldn't quite understand exactly what was going on. And it dawned on me. Answers right there in front of me. God is love. I said, so love is a satellite type of thing. If you're not connected to the satellite, then you're not going to be able to go ahead and get the right reception going from one to the other, because there's too much interference. So I had to first develop a real relationship with the source of love by understanding that else is merely a reflection of the source of what is love. In all, through all, for love, because of love. And in this love, knowing that love also lives inside of me and inside of you, to be fed by you, by the love of you, that has already been your gift before your carnation into your fleshly existence. Unfortunately, the flesh oftentimes takes charge to rule your life into either the or the worse. Now, the key for me was to understand that I am not a one-part being, but a being of 3 parts. That's spirit, soul, and body. But the flesh was trying to take charge. But then when I started to recognize that I had to recognize who I am, then I came to recognize that I have to make an alignment on a consistent basis and develop the maintenance that was necessary for the balance of each of these beings to be nourished and satisfied in the nourishment that fulfills my entire being. That is why the spiritual awareness of love is so very important in nurturing and developing into the reality and the beauty that it ought to be. That was the thing that really happened for me. And in that, I came to recognize for this to really be performed, I had to first give honor to the source of love so that love finds me to be the temple of which she wishes to live, thrive, and multiply in giving of herself, because that's what she does. Love has come to recognize that there was something special about the scripture when it said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Sometimes it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God. But what dawned on me is, seek ye first the kingdom of love. Because if God is love, and it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, then God is love. So seek ye first the kingdom of love, and all else will be added unto you. And that's what opened the door for the beloved of which I have today.
Thank you so much. So it sounds to me like you made a total transformation from the player to realizing there's the sacredness in this love, and how you brought God, knowing that God is the love, and that you aligned yourself with that. And so, can I ask you, King, when did you know? I mean, I don't know how maybe you could talk a little bit about how you and your queen met each other, and what was it about Arlene that spoke to your heart? What was it about her? I think every woman wants to know what is it that makes that man look at me and say, she's the one. What was it about her that said that to you? Was it in her conversation? Did she just walk into the room and you knew right away? What was that spark for you?
Well, this is funny, but this is true. You have to first trust God, and you have to have a faith of knowing that in that reality, seek ye first the kingdom of love and its righteousness, which actually is what the scripture says, because then you have to start living right. You have to be to what is best as far as living is concerned, because it's not just seeking the kingdom and not doing your work, but you have to do right and be right. And so you have to allow yourself that alignment, and then have a faith of knowing that God is going to handle that situation. And so I know a lot of people talk about certain potions that you may need to use, or, certain prayers or invocations that have to be brought forth. But I, having a faith of knowing that the all-powerful, almighty God is the source of all creation and everything, whatever energies, whatever folk, whatever sources, whatever occasions are necessary, he's going to put in action for me, because I may not be aware of what is necessary in order to go to the absolute details of maybe a spiritual bath or maybe sitting and meditating as I should. But what's going to happen is I'm going to be brought to a place of where community is going to share with me the things that are necessary for me to have the transformations that are necessary. So then I become aware and awakened to pick up the signs and signals that are necessary. So what happened for me is I heard her voice, and there was something in the resonance of her voice that was striking, but I couldn't really perceive it, but the spirit inside of me was perceiving it. But I wasn't really paying it a whole bunch of attention. But because of the manifestation of the power of love, which is the power of God, she was getting that vibration to make the move. And as she was making the move and feeling that energetic vibration, it was ringing inside of me as well. And what's striking to me is I went to an event in Chicago just before my birthday celebration in September. And I think it is so strange because it seems so surrealistic. I remember being in a party that we had up there, and I was being introduced at the door, and we were passing cards from one to another of various people. And there was this lady that was in the corner that handed me her card, but she didn't say anything. She kind of looked at me, and I looked at her. And I knew there was some kind of connection there. But I said to her, I'll make sure to give you a call. And I continued, with communicating with everybody else. And didn't give it any thought. What was striking for me is Arlene showed up here in Baltimore at the birthday celebration that I had posted on Facebook. And there wasn't a whole bunch of people there, but the people that were there were the ones that were supposed to be there. And Arlene handed me a card. And when I looked at that card, that was the card that I received in the dream. And I was like, wait a minute. I could have sworn she was in Chicago. She was never there.
Ooh, delicious.
Yeah.
That's delicious. So you felt her even before she showed up.
Yes. And that's because I'm trusting in what God will do and can do, because I was transitioning out of a relationship. And the thing that was interesting about the transitioning out of the relationship I was in is that I knew it was not going to be easy to transition out of that relationship. But the strange thing about that is I had to trust. And I'm telling you, faith and trust and knowing that God is going to handle things is phenomenal. I mean, it really is, because that previous relationship, the intimacy was actually discontinued. It was on a mutual. It was for years. It was like we was going on 3 years of discontinuing the intimacy, because we knew how important that sexual energy is to keep you linked or locked in. And we knew that we were good for each other. We were good to each other, but we really weren't good for each other. So you have to have a maturity of understanding that when it's time to move forward and move on, don't hold on. Let go and let God. And so that's what I did. And surely, as I talk to you now, there was a dissolving of that relationship that I think was comfortable enough for the shift and the transformation of myself and that other individual to come to a place to where when I came to meet Arlene, it was okay. There was no problems, and there was no issues, you know? And it is just so amazing to me, because as I listened to Arlene and I started talking to her on the phone, I could feel a vibration that was telling me this woman needs to be with her on the phone. I would lay in the bed, and I actually said to her, you know, you need to be here with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you that right now. I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went with spirit from there.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, I was like, this is what's up, because the compatibility fell right in alignment with everything. And I'd never been in such a compatible relationship before. Even with the sister that was that I was going to school with, even though we had a lot in common, the compatibility factor can only be found by allowing Source to manifest what's necessary in your life and being obedient and listening and opening yourself up to that which is yours to receive. Because all Source wants is the best for you, and you've got to believe that.
You know, King, that goes right back to what we were saying earlier about that belief, and it sounds like you were just standing. You totally stood in your belief that, you know, Spirit had your divine mate for you, and even though you went through the process through these other relationships, that you were able to just stand in your knowing. You know, and I think I heard you say, you know, you didn't really go through all the potions and the spiritual baths and all that kind of stuff. And maybe, obviously, that's not everybody's process. But you had your own process, doing your own spiritual work and your own trust and your own belief in what you ultimately wanted to attract to you. And there she showed up at the party and handed you a card. So, you know, it just goes to show you, you just never know where that beloved is going to, how they're going to show up, how the universe is going to bring them to you. That's just amazing and beautiful. I thank you so much for sharing your journey and letting us know how you connected with your queen.
And if I may,
go ahead.
Vicki, what I found interesting too is Arlene has, Arlene Kahet, okay, is her name, right? And what I found for myself was recognizing that, for me, now this is for me, I noticed how on the chessboard you have the king and you have the queen, and they're the two most powerful players on the board. But the king on the chessboard can only move one square at a time, okay? It's a very powerful piece, but it doesn't have the power that the queen had, okay? Now, for me, I had to sit up there and look at that process, and out of the queens in which was by my side during the journey that I've had, there was a lot of issues because the queen has her way about certain things, and she wants to kind of rule the king. That's what I've been noticing. I ain't saying, everybody's like that, but I'm just saying. So what I discovered for myself is I needed somebody who had a spiritual connect that was super, super strong, because a lot of the people that I came across, they had to think that, and it was so weird. It was like if I was this, I'm trying to be humble because that's what I am, but it was just weird. There was a lot of jealousy going on, and I couldn't understand how in the relationships that I was in previously, they didn't know me. It was like, okay, if I'm with you, all right, this is me. I'm with you. I'm going to be with you. I'm not going out here and doing all that other crazy stuff because that's not who I am. But I would keep getting charges unnecessarily, which I could not figure out. So then I said I need somebody who had a spiritual connect that was strong and very strong, because I don't want them to be deceived by negative forces that don't even exist. So I was like, I need an angel, okay? So my nickname for Arlene is Angel. But what I ended up finding out, her last name, Kahet, means purifying light of God. And that's exactly what I need in my life. And so I know that this is a hit. And I just had to say that because I'm like still excited. I'm going to stay excited.
Oh, my God, I feel it. I feel your excitement. Wow, that's so beautiful. Oh, my gosh, beautiful. You got exactly what you needed. And, that whole thing that you just said, King, is really a whole conversation about how we put charges on people that they don't even deserve. And most of it's our own insecurity, stuff that we haven't let go of that have been inflicted on us in other relationships. So you knew what you did not want, and your spirit drew to you exactly what your soul desired. So I am so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. May you always stay as elated and blissful as you are now.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Vonnie, I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to ask King, but I wanted to bring the Queen back in for a second, and then we're going to open up the lines to see if there's anyone who would like to ask you guys some questions, or maybe just do a congratulations to you finding true love. Vonnie, did you have anything you want to share or ask?
Yeah, I do. I do have a question, but before I get into the question, I just, I felt the energy that this brother, when he's talking about his queen and how, he set off to find her, to attract her. And last week our show, we talked about the awakened lover and the whole aspect of, loving from the heart and the relationship of self-love and intuition and loving from the heart and not having an agenda and trusting and going in with the flow of things and being present. So I really love what this couple is doing in the name of love, because my thought process is that, when you have two people that have done the work, and not to say that it's perfect, because I'm sure there might be things that that might trigger and may bring some things up, but the fact that you're consciously, doing the work in love, and others can bear witness to it, and you're sharing your story with us tonight. I'm so grateful for the two of you and for the union. And with that being said, we talked about, we're talking about compatibility and having things in common. So, yeah, we've been, people where they're cool, we have things in common, but what is it about that piece that goes beyond having things in common to where we are compatible? So what I wanted to propose this question to both Arlene and King is, what is your take on the difference between compatibility and common interest?
Okay, wow, that's a deep question, but I'll see if I can. Okay, so I would say that the main difference, and I'm going to be honest and say that for on the for real, a majority of what I would say the deep compatibility that King and I have, that I had an intuitive understanding that he was right for me. All of those things that those doubts, those concerns, those nagging questions, that nagging feeling in the background that I would always feel with other people, I did not have that here. I think at one point King did ask me, when do you see our relationship ending? And I would look at it and I would feel, I would be in that feeling space with it, and I didn't see it. I did not see it. I did not feel it. And here's the thing, with, much of last year, I did dating, I would date people from time to time, and the experience that I would have, or the thought that would come across my mind, just on the intuitive level, is he is not a match. Next person, he is not a match. Next person, he's not a match. Next person, you can't even talk to dude here, and he is not a match. I mean, literally, there was, and the guy did not, and I was thinking of like the spiritual component, but the guy didn't even say anything about the spiritual component, and he was actually interested in marrying me, and there was a part of me that I was like, it's too hard for me to even, I did not even have that. So a lot of it was just intuitive, like, I would sit, I would talk with him. And as I listened to him talk, and I listened to that place where he speaks from, that spiritual place, and I would find myself, being the mirror for that, being the echo, and it was just, there would be like this sort of co-creative, synergy that would take place between us just in conversations, and then when we actually got together, that synergy that I'm talking about, that co-creativeness, it just expanded. And there are times literally, when we were on our way up here to Jersey, there was this, I had the thought earlier today. I had this thought. I was like, I need some deodorant. And I was like, well, maybe we could, all I was thinking to myself, well, maybe we could go to the drugstore. Maybe we can do something, maybe we'll go to another store, but I did not actually verbalize this. And as we're on our way up to the hotel, we were in the Jersey area, he was like, do you need a pair of tweezers? I'm getting that you need to, that we need to go to the drugstore. And I just sort of sit there and I looked at him and I was like, well, the thought of a drugstore did cross my mind earlier today.
Wow.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be a drugstore. And no, I don't need tweezers. No, I don't need tweezers. But I need some deodorant. And
but he is in tune to what you need.
He's and stuff and things like that happen continuously all the time, and it just seems to get, bigger and more pronounced as we're spending time together. And I'm just like, I did at one point say, man, there's no keeping any secrets from you. And we're constantly kind of picking up on each other. I will have a thought, and I will actually vocalize it, and it's going along with something that his co-creative process. And it's just more or less like an add-in of information and things of that nature to what it is that he's doing, and vice versa. So I don't know if that I tried to answer that question as best as I can, but if there is a level of I guess you could say, magic, spiritual magic, or co-creation that can't be quantified and explained in ways that are I think tangible for most people. But when it's there and you just know. And when you've developed that relationship with yourself and know yourself and know what's going on, and be honest and be honest and not try to be in that place of trying to make it fit, because I've been there too. I've been there too. I've tried to do that. But you just get more and more authentic with yourself. You get more and more in alignment with Source, and it's like there's this coming together, because I had at one time did ask him, did you have it? He was talking earlier about seeing me at the event in Chicago. Mind you, I never went to Chicago. He just had a dream about me. But at one point in our conversation, I was like, did you have a dream about me? And his response was, I'm not sure yet. But then later on, he saw my business card again, and that's when he recalled the dream, where he actually saw me there in Chicago. So, can't really explain it or quantify it, but I hope that answers your question as best. I tried to answer that question as best as my ability.
Oh, no, it did. Thank you. Thank you for finding the words to put it together, because, to speak on that intuition and being tapped into that part of us that a lot of times, we ignore, certain flags that come up in other relationships. And being as though, when we were in the beginning of the show, we were talking about, things that we can do to attract our mate. And one of them, we talked about forgiveness and being grateful, but also being grateful to that person in that past relationship that showed us a piece of us that we needed to see to help us gauge on things that we needed to work on and tweak so that we can continue our journey to, finding our divine love mate. So, so having that and that builds that intuition, that comes through us having certain experiences in our lives and consciously wanting to do the work to not repeat history.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. One of the things that I kind of look at when you ask the question was common interest is just that. It's common, whereas compatibility is like super rare. Common interest is common defined, but compatibility is about an alignment that develops in the ether of love that finds you out, then seeks who you are to be with you because of you. So it's a spiritual experience, and people need to actually link into that spirituality so that what's yours will come to you because it's already ordained for you.
Right.
Because love lived in us before we became the flesh. Love itself is seeking itself. And all we have to do is open up so that she can find herself amongst us.
Right.
But to say love has no other desire but to fulfill herself.
I like that. And also, what you said about developing our relationship with the source. The source of love.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was just gonna that's so beautiful what you said, King. Because what it brings to my mind is that many people are looking for love on a superficial level, and that's probably why they get superficial relationships. You know,
right.
But when when you have that connection with spirit, and when you are in that way of trusting and believing and knowing that this is your birthright, knowing that you're supposed to have that divine love connection, you know, in that energy and in that vibration, you will attract that one who is totally and completely compatible with you. And so when when we're out there and we're looking and we're doing the online dating and we're doing all this other stuff, if we're not connected spiritually, first of all with ourselves, and, you know, desiring to connect spiritually with that beloved, then we are going to get those superficial relationships that we're going to have to keep on jumping through until we go within.
Yes, I told the brothers the other day, I said it's important to develop the relationship with the relationship builder so that he can build the relationships for you, because he's waiting to do it.
Amen, amen to that. All right, family, well, you heard that. You heard the King say we develop a relationship with the relationship builder, because he's ready to do it for you. So if it's your heart's desire, your soul's desire to not only attract but connect with your divine mate, connect with the relationship builder, the spiritual presence of love that is God. Thank you so much, King and Arlene. We love y'all so much. I'm just so excited for you. Bonnie, we are at the top of the hour once again, and I just wanted to give the family an opportunity to come in and ask any questions that they may have of King and Arlene, or offer them any comments that they may have. So if anyone would like to speak with King and Arlene, please press the number 1 to get into the queue, and we will bring you in on this conversation.
And while we wait to see if any of the family want to participate on the conversation, I just want to say how I'm just loving the two of you, and I look forward to, having you two back on the show again and just talking about your journey through love, because this is, we've had couples on the show before, and we invite that to have both the male perspective and the female perspective, and then, and coming together again so that we can just have these conversations so that we can just build up and raise up this love consciousness, because the world, they need to see this. They need to know. If you looked on the news and on the internet, you wouldn't see the best representation of our black men, in love and loving our sisters. But the fact that, this brother's on the show and he's talking about how, he found his queen and his queen is on the show and, and talking about how she has her king. It's just a beautiful thing to see and to witness.
It absolutely is, Vonnie, and it just reminds me of a fairy tale. I can't, I'm an old-fashioned fairy tale girl. The king has found his queen, and the queen has found her king. I'm just so in love with that ideal and idea, and with that reality. I'm so grateful, and I just want to say I'm getting ready to bring a caller in. But, when you surround yourself with a community of people that are vibrating at the energy of love, when that's part of the journey, is being in that community, being around people who are talking love and being love, and, you're exchanging that love, then you can't help but have that experience come to you. So, I say, family, if you're ready to make it happen, then get yourself in a good love community. And speaking of love community, I'm getting ready to bring on the Queen of Love herself. And I'm going to bring her on first because I believe that the reason why King was in Chicago having that experience and having that dream about his queen in Chicago was because of our beautiful sister, Lady Love. So we're getting ready to bring her in now.
Wow.
Love to the goddess.
Love to the goddesses. Thank you for bringing me in. I am just wanting to say congratulations. I hear the love. I hear your heart. And I love what you said, King. You know, in essence, what you said is, you know, we don't have to be perfect. We just got to be open for love. And I think so many people think we got to do all this work so we can get this love life going. And you just got to be open to source and open to being the divine love mate. We always trying to find and search, and we already are everything. And so once you become it, then you attract it. And I'm just excited to hear love is in the air. And I just wanted to say congratulations. What an amazing opportunity to live life when your soul sings. And, you know, just think if we could live our whole life, our soul singing, our soul on fire. So I just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you so very much.
Hello,
Thank you. and I just want to add, you know, September is the first time I think I laid eyes on Arlene. Now, I'm talking about the September that just passed. Now, out of all of my relationships previously, I gave them years. My first marriage, I didn't marry that woman until we were 7 years into the relationship. And then I was thinking I was doing the right thing. But I have to let God do what he do. But in my connect with Arlene, everything that I hesitated on with all those other relationships, there was nothing that was holding anything back. It was like green lights straight down the road. I don't know if you ever seen a road where you can look, and not only are the lights green, but they're not going to turn red. Oh, I stepped on the full speed ahead. I stepped on the gas.
All right, so King, she laid it on you, huh? She laid it on you so right, huh? No, just playing.
Oh, we was coming up here today, and I told her, I said, you know that Michael Jackson song, how did that thing go? You Rock My World? Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, Arlene, we're going to have to take some notes. What did you do, girl? We're going to have to ask you. What did you do?
You know what? I just showed up. I just showed up. That was just myself, and I showed up.
I don't think you gave us all the ingredients to those spiritual baths. We got to get the rest of the ingredients to the spiritual baths.
No,
Listen, I want to know, did you have some of that love potion oil? Because, you know, they got these love oils now that you can rub all over you. And they say, man, if you wear that, it'll attract the brothers won't be able to turn away from you. They be running after you. So did you have any of that? I want to know.
No, I didn't have any of that. All I knew was that Spirit was telling me to go show up at his birthday party. I was like, okay, well, you know, it's an opportunity. Mind you, I was not even thinking. I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't even thinking about connecting with anybody. But Spirit had told me to show up, and so I was like, okay, an opportunity to get out of the house. So I showed up, and when he saw me, there was this moment. He paused, like, and you know that look that men might give you, like, what was that? You know, he gave me that look. Again, I wasn't thinking about that when I showed up at the party. And now I went ahead and like he said, I gave him my business card, and what happened was, 2-3 days later, Spirit's telling me, you need to go give him a call. And I'm like, what do you mean go give him a call? And they're like, you need to give him a call. And I'm like, I'm the female. I don't get calls. And let's just say, I tend to be obedient. And I went ahead and gave the call. I think it was by the second call that I was made to call twice. It was by the second call that I think he began to pick up on that vibration that he was talking about. It wasn't something that was immediate. But no love potions, no nothing. I just, I was open, I was ready, I was receptive, and I was to the spirit, literally.
And it's interesting that Arlene mentions that, because the thing that I find amazing is, if it wasn't for her being obedient to spirit, I might have missed this, because I was allowing myself to be blocked by a relationship I had already supposedly have been out of for over 2 years. But because of the compassion that I have, just because I love people and I want the best for people, I allowed myself to block my own self. So I wasn't really trying to go anywhere. But then at the same time, I didn't know exactly what to do. So it's spirit that makes this happen. It really is. And you have to trust in that divine, because Arlene is a person that is rare to find. She has all of the qualities that I know is ideal for what I'm after in my life. And you don't find it in city girls in general, okay? And I'm not saying Arlene country, but what I'm saying is you don't find what I needed in my relationship, in my life, just by going to the club or trying to seek it out. You got to get help to make that happen. And that's what spirit did for me. And the spirit opened the door and made it happen. And I mean, that's what it is.
I have a question. Janine, I know that I opened the line to you, but if are you complete? And I have something I want to ask.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I want to know, and you don't have to answer this question because I'm all up in your business, but I just want to know, is sex different when you have found your spiritual mate? Is your sex, your beautiful lovemaking, is it different when you found your spiritual mate?
Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and answer that one.
Thank you, Arlene.
That's a good one. I like that question.
I know he's not scared. I know you're not, hon. I will say that he is the first mate that I've ever had where all of those kinks that I have, that I'm unafraid to share them with him. And I'm unafraid to go down that journey with him. Those parts of ourselves, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but that part of myself that I normally would keep hidden from the previous mates that I had, I don't have that here. And so I'm able to share with him what those things are, those hidden desires, the desire to do role-playing games, the things, but that creative aspect of me that is the sexual goddess. I'm unafraid to do that. I can't say that I had that in any of the previous relationships that I had, even the marriage that I had. If there was anything that was brought to the table, I was the one that brought it. And he was, in comparison, very boring, the first husband. And I can't say that here. I can't say that here. So let's just say I'm able to be vulnerable with him, and even with those aspects of myself that I would have kept hidden from other people.
And I'll share, because what I found interesting was there was let me see, I'm going to go there. There was a
let's
person.
go. You on Let's Talk Love, Sex, and Nutrition. We already made our disclaimer, so.
There,
King, every orgasm, God is in it. So you might as well talk about it, because it's serious.
Yes.
So let's come on and let's hear it. Let's do it.
For me, I said to myself, I had to first find out me, okay? Because I was like, okay, I'm this three-part being, okay? I'm down with the spirit thing, okay? I'm recognizing that, greater is he that's in me than we that is in the world, and all that stuff, right? I know that my soul is hungry, and I got to feed my soul, but I got to feed my flesh too. And I sit up there, and there was this sister who, let's say, an angel at the church, okay? And she's got the glow, and she's looking all, everything that I can accept in a woman. But I don't know what she is as far as, that sexual thing is concerned. And so I was like, well, let me make my approach, see what's happening, right? Because I got to let someone let God. But she put me on hold, and she was like, I appreciate, you coming to me. But, let's kind of just be cool. Let's be cool. And I was like, okay, I'm cool with that because I know what God's going to do. So I came back, and I was like, okay, Lord, you know where I am with this body because you know what I need, and you know what I need to have, how I need to slow down, okay? Because I'm like, I can't get no relationship the way I can't slow down because I got to be able to slow down. And, if you're going to let that religiosity go ahead and, interfere with the slow down, then we ain't compatible. So when the situation came along that brought everything to the table, what I decided to do was get my fork and my knife and my spoon and my bowl, and I was to go ahead and just go have myself a meal.
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah, I ate it all up.
All right.
Oh, and how delicious, delicious, delicious and divine is that? Brother said he ate it all up. We love it. We love it. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. I've often wondered what the difference is when when you're in a lovemaking with the one, with the absolute one that God designed the two of you for. And it's just got to be magnificent. It's just got to be all that because God is right there in the midst of that. So thank you. And
it's real. It's real. God is right there. And, before I didn't want to play that role. I didn't want to accept that because I'm sitting up here from a Christian background with this mindset that, you God, you go ahead and this sex thing is not what God really wants for you. And I'm like, wait a minute, he gave me this. Now, if he gave me this and this thing is going like this, then I'm going to give it back to him so that he can handle what this is because if I go with it, I might go off, and I can't do it like that. So I had to have the guidance and the acknowledgement of knowing that everything is God. And so when I'm involved with her because that's where God has put me. And so that's who gives me the strength to do what I do when I do what I do because I got to do that through that. Yes. All right.
Well, I'm going to open up the line to, we have another caller who wants to chime in on this conversation. And Goddess Janine, thank you so much. God bless you. We love you. And we're going to open it up to 321-202-321. Welcome to Let's Talk Love, Sex, and Nutrition.
Good God evening. I am Rosa J.
Peace to the goddess.
I heard a couple of things that are so correct, or I believe to be correct about when you're open yourself to love, love comes to you. If you want to be in a loving relationship, I heard someone say you have to be around people who are in a loving relationship or relationships, and that's the most wonderful thing about love. If you're surrounded by love and folks that are in loving marriages, then your mate will show up. But you have to first say, God, I'm open to relationship. of love. I forgive and accept all the lessons of past relationships. But one of the most amazing things that I heard said by my sister, Arlene, she said she thought about going to the drugstore and my brother picked up on it. And that's what I'm talking about. When you know that you have met the person that is really in tune with you, when your thoughts are connected, when you can talk, and I talked about that before on the love journey, to have a relationship where it's purely between the two of you, to the point where your mouth does not have to open to express yourself to each other. That's a great beginning. That's a relationship that can go beyond the physical. That you can travel with each other in the spirit and know that you're together as one. Because they say in the Bible that when you take a wife, that you are to be one. The two become one. And a lot of times that takes a long time, but you guys are already there. So it has no other choice but to get better and better. And eventually you'll have that thing where I said before, when you touch each other and you have that orgasmic feeling. You know, just the mere touch of that person that you love so much. They don't have to say anything to you. I congratulate you on finding your mate. And I wish you all that God has in store for you. I don't think you're going to be one of those people who get to the other side and say they didn't get all their blessings, because you guys have got a good start. Your box is going to be empty.
Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you, Rosa. Love you all.
Thank you.
Love it. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rosa J. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to carry that with me, and I'm going to say that all the time. When you can touch each other, when you can hold each other's hands and have an orgasm. Oh, yes. And as Queen Janine says, Brother Astarius says, when you, what is it, Janine? When you have an orgasm, you pop in the cherry of the universe.
Universe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Love it. So we have just about 5 minutes left. Wow, the time has just gone by so quickly. King and Arlene, I can't even tell you how I am just so elated for the two of you. I'm so happy that you have found each other in such a beautiful and amazing way. It just goes to show you that when you love God, you will get everything that your heart desires. When you're so in love with spirit, when you're so in love with who you are, then the universe will bring you everything your heart desires. So I wish you all the best, the love, the bliss, the joy, the good sex, the amazing health and wealth and prosperity and peace and everything that you could imagine having with one another. And I wish you well on your journey in love. If there's anything that you would have to say to the family before you leave, please take a moment to do that. And then we're going to leave out with some music. I want to thank the family so much for being here with us tonight and experiencing this wonderful love connection. King and Arlene, did you have anything you'd like to say to the family before you leave tonight?
I would like to at least give you this quote from Khalil Gibran, and it goes like this: "But let there be spaces in your togetherness, and let the winds of the heavens dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous. but let each one of you be alone, even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts, and stand together, yet not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow.
Beautiful.
Ashe, aho. And so it is. Thank you, Brother.
Yeah, and I'm married to that guy.
Yes. You are blessed, Queen. You are blessed. Oh, beautiful. Arlene, how about you? Did you have anything else that you wanted to say to the family?
No, I think that he did it. He did a very, very good job. But yeah, I will just leave it at that. Just allow yourself to be in alignment. Know that it is possible. Make sure that all of your relationships are operating at the vibration that Source would have them to operate at, and it will unfold and take place. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Queen. God bless you both. I wish you well. Namaste. And one love to each and every one of the family tonight. We'll look forward to you joining us again next week on Let's Talk Love, Sex, and Nutrition. And Bonnie had to leave us, so she sends her blessings to each and every one of you. And we just want to just say we love you so much. Namaste. Be blessed.
Namaste.
Some beautiful love music. Namaste.